Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to greet you today and also for those coming to Genadendal for the first time, to welcome you.
Hier op Genadendal het ons 'n baie ryk geskiedenis van dit wat aan ons gegee is deur die vorige geslagte wat strek oor honderde jare. The Genadendal Mission Museum has prepared exhibitions for this day for all of us, not only to look and see, but to appreciate and to think with great gratitude about our forebears, those who have gone before, but who left with us a legacy that we can be thankful for, that we can teach our children and tell them always to be appreciative of what has been given to us. Now, in Genadendal, we have a person who has done much research of the past centuries. We all know him. He was instrumental in starting and building up the museum over approximately 50 years with the assistance of many people. I refer to Dr. Isaac Bali, who has also now helped us. You know, he was the manager of the museum until about 3 or 4 years ago, but he has maintained his interest in what goes on in the museum. And we have approached him to assist us to prepare an exhibition of the trade and industry of the past years, of the time when our forebears had done so much to teach children and young people the trades of the past.
He cannot sue me if he carry the way of the world.
Welcome to our Heritage Day exhibition opening. Through our public programs, we aim to foster awareness and understanding for our inclusive history, especially thinking of Heritage Day today. We also aim to reach a broader audience, and this is why it gives me so much joy to see such a broad audience with us today. We aim to inspire and stimulate interest in our museum. Do enjoy the day with us. Thank you so much for being here.
We worked not for a couple of weeks, but for months on displays as well as demonstrations. I would like to introduce you to Mr. Kasik Straczynski, our Polish artisan. Is he here? Please come forward. He is a cutler, but also an engineer. And he trained a couple of years ago some of our local youngsters. Jaden, come forward. Easton, come forward. Easton was the first trained cutler. Thank you, Mr. Kasik. We really appreciate your assistance. Easton staan op die linkerkant en Jaden staan in die middel. En hulle gaan demonstreer hoe messe gemaak is. I just want to say the following. that Genadendal participated in the Great British Exhibition of 1851, and a special gold medal was awarded to us. And many years ago, I thought of reviving this trade again, and thank you for your willingness.
The wagon you see here was built in Genadendal at approximately 1800, and it was used for many trips around in the area. But one of the main trips was that the wagon was used together with oxen to start a mission in the Eastern Cape, what is today known as Eastern Cape. That time it was all part of the colony, as it was called, and a place called Enon, which is about 800 kilometers from here. The mission was started by the missionaries together with some families from Genadendal. And this wagon, this is the original wagon, was used by these people to go down to Enon and to start a mission there. And of course, later the wagon was brought back, and it's part of the artifacts that we have now in our museum. There's a special place in which the wagon is housed, and we are deeply, deeply thankful for this wonderful piece of history that we have with us today.
Have been effective on behalf of those communities. They actually, some of them, I worked on 2 or 3 of them. I don't do this on a full-time basis. 2 or 3 of my colleagues work on this. This is what they do.
How do we go about restitution? Because history can be history, but it won't justify the unjust that's been done to us.
Ons kan hierdie gebruik is net daar, julle sal net nou mooi sien is hierdie houertjie net daarin. So we've been taking samples here in Greyton, in Genadendal, of individuals who are or presumed to be descendants of the early Khoekhoe of this area, mostly descendants of the Khoekhoe. And with this sample, which is saliva, or spit if you like, we put in a little vial and that we can analyze. And that goes to Uppsala University in Sweden, where they have a laboratory to do this in a very sophisticated sort of way. And with this analysis, we can then go back generation-wise in the male line, which is the Y chromosome, and also the female line, which is the mitochondrial. Now, females transmit their genome, their genetic profile to both a son and a daughter, but the males only to a son. That's the Y chromosome. It's a single male line as far as males are concerned. But from the female will go to both sons and daughters. People normally look at another person and say, oh, you look, West European, or you look like an African or something. But that's phenotypical. That's appearance. That tells a little story. We do the genotypical. We do genotypes. And that's what your genes tell us. And that is the accurate. It's not a debate. It's not speculation. It's like a fingerprint. And that's a true story. And what you see is not what you get. You can look at a person who in complexion is darkish and might be 73% West European, genetically speaking. We might look at me and say, well, you must be, your parents or great-grandparents must have migrated from Europe because look at your appearance. But in real terms, in my case, actually, no, there's a very significant African component in my genetic makeup, but it doesn't necessarily show. Personality and identity are socio-cultural factors, and by socialization, the way you grow up, and the environment that you grow up, the family and your community often determines your identity as far as you are personally concerned, or your personality. Now this is a genetic fingerprint that doesn't necessarily have to match that. I can profile you and find out that you 67% Khoi by descent, but you identify simply as a South African or something else, and I can't argue with that. And what we're not doing here, and we want to emphasize that with this kind of sampling, we're not bestowing an identity on you, we're not giving back an identity to you. Your identity is still your own affair and of your own making. We did sampling all along the southern Cape Coast, amongst others in Stillwater, at Melkfontein, and a lot of those people self-identified as Khoekhoe and or Khoekhoe. So we did genetic sampling there, and we did the analysis, and those results are back. I went back there personally to give each one a report, and a significant percentage of those confirmed what these people have been thinking or claiming that they are.
This is always so beautiful. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning. And what they're doing now is they sort of announcing the festival, which is going to take place later near the church. And there are bands playing all over Genadendal, mainly on the hilltops. And you can actually hear them from here, the other bands playing.
Thinking of my mum when she died, and she would have loved us to wake up to it. So I'm feeling a little,
Okay. It's my cousin, Lechmi.
Well, I hope Genadendal gets blessed with his music now. We need it here.
Brass music in the Moravian Church started in the time of the missionaries. When the missionaries came to Genadendal and started the seminary in Genadendal. Seminary that later became the Teachers Training College. And it was at that training college in Genadendal that the students were taught the brass music and to play the brass instruments. So there is a very close connection between brass music and the Moravian Church, because brass music is part of our Moravian heritage.
Such a beautiful festival, and we're so glad that we could go back to the place of our origin, Genadendal, the Valley of Grace. What a wonderful occasion. We came back to our roots, and the first German missionaries, not long after they came here, they started with music amongst the Khoi people. And the Khoi people, the first brass band sounded up here in Genadendal. And we today, we are a reverberation of that time, and we can carry this blessed tradition forward.
Nee, baie goed, dankie. Goed afgelopen.
Can we take a walk to Kiel Schmidt's
Yes.
grave or the memorial
Memorial
stone?
Stone, yeah. We can do that.
And talk a little bit about what's happening here.
Okay, the Remembrance Garden. Okay. You know, the culture of the Khoi at that time was not a literate culture. They never wrote down any history or whatever. That makes it so important that we have these diaries, because the missionaries had to diarize practically every day and all the happenings, whatever they did. And even they diarized the services they had every day with them. And with the result that all the problems that existed here with the colonists wanting to grab the land, it's all written in these diaries. End of the 18th century, yeah, and beginning of the 19th century, all the land was taken around here. They even tried to take this land here, Genadendal. But luckily, George Schmidt, he had some papers which he gave to Schlesken. And Schlesken...
Who was then the governor?
The governor. He was first the commissioner. And then he became the acting governor.
Abraham Schlesken.
Abraham Schlesken. Then Marsveld, the missionary here, he took the papers that he brought from Germany of Georg Schmidt, that he had rights here on the land. This was the spot where Georg Schmidt erected his Hartbeeshuisie in 1738 when he came to work on this spot. And he had a stone foundation, but the building was made of sods and sticks. And then he lived here, but when he returned to Germany later on, then of course it couldn't withstand the weather and it went down. But when the missionaries, second batch of missionaries came in December 1792, they took the foundation stones of this building and they put it under that building. So that building was built, and it has significance that they built on the foundations that Georg Schmidt laid.
So then they built the big church that we have today, that we're using today.
Yes.
Who built it?
The missionaries, with the help of the people, of course. Normally when they had things like that, and the people built the church and the missionaries provided the food. But they even made use of the children. The children used to cart the bricks from the brick fields through this passage. There was a brick fields on the other side of the river. They crossed the bridge, they brought the bricks, and then they constructed the church. And your grandfather also was one of the children passing the bricks. He was part of it, yes. And then
that's your father.
My father was part of it. And then I think that is the reason why my father refused to become a minister of the church, because I think he was so intrigued as a little boy at this huge building that the people erected, because this is still the biggest building in this whole area.